This is London, a city that still sells a dream. The skyline sparkles, the taxis hum through misty streets, and every corner feels like a film set for ambition. On the surface, it's everything a capital should be. Loud, iconic, alive. But look just a little closer. Behind the money and the monuments, something feels off. The stories told on postcards don't match what's happening on the ground. Beneath that gleaming skyline lies a reality powered by exhaustion, not opportunity. London now has more multimillionaires than anywhere else in Europe, and yet a quarter of its residents live in poverty. Michelin-starred restaurants share postcodes with food banks and shelters. For many who came chasing success, the dream now feels like quicksand. The harder you work, the deeper you sink. It's strange. London was once the model of progress, a place that proved what hard work could achieve. Today, it stands as a warning of how quickly prosperity can rot from the inside. How did that happen? How did one of the richest cities on earth become, for so many, impossible to live in? To understand, we need to trace how the foundation cracked and why no one repaired it before it spread. London's housing nightmare didn't strike overnight. It was built slowly, policy by policy, decision by decision. After World War II, Britain faced rubble and rebuilding. The answer was simple: build homes. From Hackney to Hammersmith, council estates rose up as symbols of stability. They weren't luxurious, but they offered something priceless: security. By the 1960s, 1 in 3 households lived in publicly owned housing, and the city thrived on that balance. Then came the 1980s. A new political era promised empowerment through ownership. Right to buy gave millions the chance to purchase their council homes. It sounded noble, and for many it was life-changing, but there was a catch. Local councils weren't allowed to use the profits to build more homes. The safety net shrank, and no one replaced it. At the very same time, another decision, the creation of the Green Belt, locked London's landmass in a chokehold. Development was frozen to protect nature, but it also trapped supply while the population surged. The goal was to preserve the countryside. Instead, it turned the capital into an ecological museum surrounded by walls of unaffordable property. Decades later, the results are impossible to ignore. Prices soared beyond reach, waiting lists exploded, and young people are now renting for life. The policy meant to create homeowners ended up creating landlords. London needs more than 1 million additional homes just to balance demand, and the gap keeps growing every year. What began as a housing policy quietly evolved into a generational divide. And when shelter becomes a privilege, everything else begins to unravel. Out of that shortage, a new market emerged, one not designed for residents but for investors. As ordinary families were forced out, foreign buyers and corporations poured in. London's property market became the ultimate safe deposit box for global wealth. Buying here wasn't about living here, it was about laundering security through glass and steel. Nearly half of central London homes sold in recent years went to overseas investors. Walk through exclusive districts at night, Knightsbridge, Mayfair, South Kensington, and you see the pattern. Darkness behind curtains, entire apartment blocks with no light, silent streets in what should be the world's busiest city. London turned from a community into a brand, beautiful but hollow. Meanwhile, the people who power the city, nurses, teachers, transport workers, fight over what's left. Rents that once cost $900 now exceed $2,000. Each spike pulls in another speculator, while lifelong Londoners pack up and move out. It's a cycle of investment feeding on scarcity, and scarcity feeding on investment. The richer London looks, the fewer real Londoners can survive inside it. And when a city's heartbeat becomes profit instead of people, something deeper begins to die. Every thriving city needs its middle, the ordinary workers who keep it functioning day to day. London used to celebrate them, now it's pricing them out. Today, nearly half a worker's income evaporates in rent before any bills arrive. What remains barely covers transport and groceries. The comfort once associated with stable jobs has vanished. Teachers, nurses, and civil servants, the backbone of the city, are now commuting hours from distant towns just to stay employed. It's not just tiring, it's isolating. Longer journeys steal time from family, from rest, from any sense of belonging. The class that once filled pubs, markets, and public squares is thinning out. Real wages haven't grown since 2008, but prices keep climbing, and the middle class is shrinking into ghost statistics. The contrast is haunting. Step into Mayfair or Chelsea. Bentleys line streets beside designer boutiques. Then travel a few miles east and stand outside a food bank where families queue before dawn. London contains both realities, but they rarely see each other. It's one city split in two worlds running parallel, side by side, never touching. When people start feeling like outsiders in the place they built, resentment becomes survival instinct. And when survival takes over, something darker creeps in. Fear. Desperation always leaves a mark on safety. In London, that mark is everywhere, on boarded-up shop fronts and the quiet glances exchanged on the night bus. Shoplifting surged more than 35% last year. Everyday goods, steak cuts, detergent, even baby formula, sit locked behind plastic boxes. Knife incidents grab headlines weekly. Phone snatchers ride by in seconds. For many, it's not greed but survival, the instinct to take when life stops giving. But fear now extends beyond crime statistics. It's in the psychology of the streets. Parents text every hour to check their kids are safe. Women plan routes home around lighting and bus stops. Crowded places don't feel lively anymore. They feel unpredictable. Public trust in policing has collapsed. After years of scandals and funding cuts, only half the population believes help will come when they need it. The other half simply doesn't call. The city hasn't descended into chaos, it's drifted into acceptance. People walk faster, speak quieter, look over their shoulders. Even in summer, when London glows, there's an edge underneath, a tension that never quite leaves. And if life outside feels unsafe, what about the battles waiting indoors? Inside London's homes, the war is financial and relentless. Energy bills have nearly doubled since the pandemic. Many residents heat one room at a time, wearing coats inside to ration warmth. Groceries rise faster than pay slips. What was a £40 weekly shop now costs $70 or more. Eating out has shifted from pastime to rare indulgence. Transport drains what's left. With new eco-zones charging £12.50 a day, congestion costs stacked on top, and train fares rising yearly, getting to work feels like a tax on existing. The average commuter spends £500 monthly just to reach their job. The math no longer works. Inflation feeds frustration, wages flatline. People cancel memberships, skip checkups, decline invitations. The energy in the city, its rhythm, its nightlife, its spontaneity, feels muted. Conversations orbit money and nothing else. Being here used to be exciting, now it's exhausting. And as costs drown households, the public systems built to protect them have begun sinking too. Decades of privatisation hollowed out the city's backbone. Thames Water stands as a symbol, billions paid to shareholders while sewage spills into rivers. The debt bill grows, the upgrades don't. Now Londoners pay the price through higher rates and degraded infrastructure. It's the same story everywhere. Bridges closed for safety, train delays stretching into hours, hospitals overwhelmed, schools understaffed. Services that once defined British stability now feel like relics from a better time. All of it bleeds into daily life. Londoners spend more, wait longer, and trust less. Half say they feel lonely most of the time, even while surrounded by 9 million others. Average commutes stretch past 80 minutes. People live stacked vertically in towers, yet feel completely detached. Behind the numbers is burnout, the invisible epidemic no one tracks. The jokes about escaping London aren't jokes anymore, they're intentions. But leaving means surrendering history, identity, and belonging. So most simply endure. Still, even in exhaustion, there are those who refuse to accept this as the end of London's story. Hope in London rarely arrives loudly. It creeps in through small victories. Urban planners push for development on underused land. Just 1% of the green belt, if repurposed, could unlock over 140,000 homes. Redeveloping derelict industrial areas could add hundreds of thousands more. Economists urge higher taxes on empty properties so that ownership means occupancy, not investment storage. Some progress has surfaced. The Elizabeth line now slashes hours off cross-city commutes. Cycling networks expand. Air quality is improving after decades of decline. None of these are revolutions, but together they hint at motion. Yet the bigger question remains, are these fixes enough to reverse decades of neglect? London's problems are structural. rooted in policies that treat citizens as data points, not people. Until those priorities change, repairs risk becoming bandages on a collapsing wall. Still, the growing demand for reform shows the heartbeat hasn't stopped. Communities organize, journalists investigate, voters speak louder. The same defiant spirit that once fueled an empire now struggles to rescue what's left of daily life. And late at night, on balconies and buses, one thought loops endlessly. Can this city still be saved? Or have we already become what we feared most? London is a contradiction made of stone and ambition, the richest poor city on earth. It shines for outsiders and burdens its own people. The skyline built on dreams now towers over sleepless workers unsure how long they can stay. Investors line up to buy what residents can't afford. Water companies drain resources. Politicians promise renewal that never arrives. Yet still, London breathes. Through the noise and exhaustion, there are flickers of life. A busker's song under a bridge, strangers laughing in the rain, the quiet pride of those who refuse to let the city's story end in silence. Because what's happening here isn't unique. It's spreading. New York, Paris, Sydney, Hong Kong. London is simply the loudest warning bell, proof of what happens when a city forgets who it's supposed to serve. So can London survive itself? Maybe. But doing so will demand more than money or policy. It requires rebuilding trust, reviving community, and remembering that prosperity without people is just architecture. For now, London endures, rich, restless, and running out of excuses. The question that remains isn't just whether it can be saved, but whether we still believe it's worth saving. And if a city built on opportunity can no longer offer it, perhaps London's story isn't ending at all. Perhaps it's daring us, every one of us, to decide how it should be rewritten.